The ratio of deaths, 6 to 1 or 10 to 1, is far, far too low. It ought to be 20 or 30 or 40 to 1 if we're talking about the deaths of terrorists versus the deaths of innocent babies and children. Israel should try as hard as it can to reduce that ratio and make it 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, and ultimately 0 in 1,000. Every Israeli citizen that dies is a tragedy. Every Palestinian terrorist that dies is a victory for justice. And when you have what's going on in Sderot now, where every rocket has the potential of killing 100 people, but most of them miss and killed only 9. So the answer of ratios is a very, very important one. A country is entitled to respond proportionately not to the actual number of deaths, but to the threat posed to its own citizens. And you might say to yourself, Israel's decision to bomb the Osiris reactor, look, that caused an infinite disproportion. No Israeli died as the result of the Iraqi bomb, and 1 French technician died. So 1 person died on the other side, and none died from Israel. The relevant question is twofold. Number one, who is being targeted? And even you would have to acknowledge that the Palestinian terrorists target innocent civilians. They try to kill as many babies and children and women and civilians as they possibly can. Israel never targets civilians. It has no reason for targeting civilians. It would lose the war of public opinion if it ever targeted a civilian. It occasionally accidentally kills a civilian. The ratio is 30 to 1. Check that in all the relevant newspapers and sources. And where you can kill 30 combatants and kill only 1 non-combatant in the process, that's the best ratio in the history of the world. Now let's get to the lobby. I do not have dual loyalty. I have loyalty to principles. My loyalty to principles says that America benefits when it supports the only democracy in the Middle East, when it supports its strongest ally militarily. I accept only one thing you've said. Yes, come to hear Walton Mearsheimer. By the way, read my critique of Walton Mearsheimer, which is online and the Kennedy School website, and you will see devastating critiques, one after the other. Virtually everything they say in their book is false. Virtually everything they say is contradicted by people who know better. For example, one of the colleagues of Walton Mearsheimer is a man named David Gergen. You've seen him on television. He worked for 6 American presidents. David Gergen, who is a colleague of John Walt, says not a word of their book is true. He says in 30 years of government, he has never seen that kind of influence play out in Washington. It's just not true. Washington is a city of lobbyists. Israel is one of many, many lobby groups. As I said before, you weren't listening, but as I said before, the reason that Israel does so well legislatively is that Americans disagree with you, and they support Israel. And they don't support the Hamas, and they don't support Hezbollah. And they understand that today Sderot, tomorrow New York, today terrorism on a bus in Tel Aviv, tomorrow terrorism on a bus in Stamford, Connecticut.